Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
And we're in Arran.
Yeah, we've had a really early start this morning. We were up at 5:30 to catch the 7 o'clock ferry from Ardrossan.
And we've had a super clear crossing, and the forecast is amazing for today. It's just stunning down here as the island slowly wakes up, and it's not even 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it's really exciting. The long range forecast for us coming to Arran wasn't great, but it seems to be changing, so I'm looking forward to a fab week of hiking and cycling.
So before we do that, let's just have a quick rewind over the last 24 hours as to how we got here. After 6 weeks of being at home, we decided that we're going to get a little escape off to Arran.
Yep, but not before we've had a quick stop off at T-Bay Services, which is my favourite place.
It's been an absolute luxury not having to fight our way on a bank holiday weekend up the M6. We've joined the M6 nice and high, so hopefully now we've got about a 3-hour run.
Exciting that we're going up to Arran and it's only 3 hours 35 minutes from where we live to Arran.
So the plan is a bit of a drive up, arrive, and then I think it's 7 o'clock ferry in the morning, so we'll see how we go. Slight change of plan. We're 50 miles up the motorway and realised that I've forgotten the bike locks for the bikes that are on the back of the van, and we can't go 10 days without them being locked up. So called off at Halfords at Penrith, and we'll get some AdBlue while we're there because I've had an AdBlue warning. So some things never go simple, particularly when you're a bonehead like me and you forget the bike locks, but hey. So the story gets even better that Halfords were shutting surprisingly 2 hours early today, so luckily there was a go outdoors just down round the corner, and £35 later we've got a shackle and a cable to lock the bikes up, so at least we can sleep easy when they're on the back of the van. So we've been on the island about an hour, and we're just going to take advantage and get up Goat Fell while it's nice and quiet and sunny. So we can only be less than a kilometre from the summit and probably less than 300 metres to go, but the weather's just pulling in, so we're on a bit of a race at the moment and keeping fingers crossed that the summit's clear, because after putting all this in, it's just gutting when you get to the top and you can't see a thing. Fingers crossed. We're now at the end of a very long but a really good first day on Arran.
In the end, we decided that the weather looked really good and we climbed Goat Fell. It's the highest peak on the island at just over 800 metres, and we had a really long walk. We did 11.5 kilometres, we had nearly 900 metres of elevation, and my legs are absolutely humming now.
I think it's fair to say it was rather an impromptu mountain climb, because sort of 10 minutes previous we weren't actually going to be climbing a mountain, were we?
No, we were just sitting having our bacon butties deciding what to do for the day. But you have to take the weather windows when you can, Rich.
Yeah, and it was amazing. And in the footage there's a little bit of me sort of getting all misery guts about that visibility is going to go at the top, and we had a cracking day. So we've headed to the northern tip of the island, and we just settled into our first campsite, which is the Lochranza campsite.
It's a really nice campsite. It's one of the only campsites on the island, to be fair as well.
It's really quite busy, which is good to see. There's lots of cycle tourists and motorhomers and campers, so hopefully it's going to be a really good night. And we're currently...
Yeah, we just sat on the steps of the distillery, which I don't even know what it's called.
It's the Arran distillery.
Lochranza distillery.
So we've come out for a bit of a walk just to ease our legs off, and we're currently sat
at the Lochranza whiskey distillery. It's really, really pretty. It's set in really nice grounds, and we'll show you a picture of one of the old distills.
I think one of the things that has surprised us about Arran is about just how quiet it is. It is really, really close to the mainland, and yet you do feel that you're absolutely in the middle of nowhere. As an island now, it's 6 o'clock and there's hardly any traffic around. We've just been sitting here as a bird of prey flew over the top of us, and it's just a beautiful, quiet place. So, what are our plans over the course of the next 10 days or so?
Who knows?
All we do know is that we've booked in to this campsite for the first couple of nights because we knew it was a bank holiday weekend, so we wanted to get that accommodation sorted, and then we're just going to follow our nose. There's so much to see and do on the island and so many hidden places.
Yeah, we've bought 2 or 3 different books and guides just to give us some ideas of nice places to find, so I'm sure we'll have a blast.
So let's just see what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, bye.
See you later.
Well, we've been on the islands for a couple of days, and actually the weather has been on our side. We've only had a tiny bit of rain in the night.
Got out on our bikes yesterday and we were expecting loads and loads of hills, but actually it was just super out. It was a great little route down by the sea.
The roads were pretty good. They've just been tarmacked, or half of the roads have been tarmacked, and the traffic was really quiet, which surprised me because it is a bank holiday weekend.
And we did obviously have a sneaky little stop off at one of the only cafes en route to just have a cheeky little chocolate brownie, which is always good.
We've had a couple of nights at Lochranza campsite and we're moving on today, but before we moved on we wanted to do a walk to Fairy Dell, which is out along the coastline to this really quirky little cottage.
It's a bit bizarre because it's meant to be the gateway of the fairies, so I'm not entirely sure whether there's any fairies around here, but hopefully we'll find some.
We'll see what we come across up the hills in a minute.
And then we're going to head off and go for a wild camp.
Yep, we're going to find somewhere where there's no bugs for us to stay for a couple of nights. This is the second time we've stayed at Lochranza campsite. It's actually a really lovely little campsite. It's quite quirky. Its facilities are a little bit dated, but they're adequate. It's next to one of the local distilleries, a great place to go for a walk and a coffee, and there's a little castle just down the road to walk to from it as well.
It does have a bit of a unique selling point in the fact that it's probably the only campsite we've been to that's twinned with a golf course, and it's surrounded by the golf course, which does have its advantages.
When we came last Easter, there was lambs playing on the golf course on the little putting tees, and this time when we came there was a herd of deer just walking across while they were trying to play golf. Quite an interesting concept.
It's amazing around here in the fact that they treat the deer as almost wild vermin, and the fact that deer just get in the way, but they're so beautiful. So this stag was ever so proud with his little family unit trotting across the golf course, and allegedly there is proof that they come into the campsite at night, but we haven't been up there. We've only seen the remnants of where they've been.
As I said, the campsite is quite basic, but it does have a little day room where people can go in because there's a lot of cyclists and a lot of hikers. So you can go in and there's a sofa and they can charge all their different bits of equipment, and there's a fridge in there.
And most importantly of all, it's got loads of hot water, so the hot water never runs out and you can always have hot showers. Since we last came, they've upgraded the Wi-Fi significantly, which is really important in this part of the world because phone signal around here can be a little bit sketchy, and it's just really nice to be able to keep in touch with people. The campsite itself is pretty isolated. Lochranza is a really small hamlet. It's got one pub, it's got one restaurant, and it's got one sandwich shop, and that's your lot.
It does have a ferry port if you want to get to the Mullacantire.
With potentially the world's smallest ferry, which hopefully we'll be able to get some footage to show you later on about that, because it's a little bit beyond belief.
It's not an expensive campsite. We paid £24 per night. We chose not to have electric hookup because we didn't need it. I think it was another £4 a night if you did.
So we'd absolutely recommend it as a base. It's dead easy to get to from the ferry terminal. It's nice, it's safe, it's in beautiful surroundings, and it's just a good base for doing a whole range of activities.
And for this weekend, it's actually been sunnier and drier than it has been in England, so I'm going to take that.